Hello there, you are welcome to Sir Henry's class. This is an educational channel where we make learning easy. I welcome you all. If this is your first time of coming across our video, like, share, subscribe, and also recommend the channel to your colleagues and your friends. So we are going to look at questions and answer of the Best Brain 2026 mock exams. So let's begin. So 1A is a practical on programming, and it says the diagram below is an illustration of an algorithm that prints colors. We have to study it and use it to answer the questions below. So this is an algorithm. When we say algorithm in computing or in programming, it is a set of instruction or a step-by-step procedure that is used to solve a problem. So this is the algorithm. So you have global variables with in colors and all that, with subprograms and some codings under it. So this is a command that is going to be used to print different colors. So I says which type of data structures are used to hold the in colors. So which type of data structures are used to hold the in colors? These are the in colors, and we have array and then list. So array is also a programming technique that keeps a number of things, and list also keeps a set of items. So the answers for number 1A are array and then list. I give the content of the variable in colors. So these are the variable in colors: cyan, magenta, yellow, and then black. So that is the answer to 1AI and II. Let's quickly move to III. It says identify the type of statement in the subprogram displayed all. So in the subprogram display all, when we refer back to the algorithm given to us, that is the iteration statement or the loop. So this is a programming construct that allows a set of instructions to repeat itself multiple times based on a specific condition. So the answer to it is the iteration statement or a loop. And then IV says we should identify the type of statement that is used in the main program. The type of statement used in the main program is called the selection statement. The selection statement, and it allows your program to make decisions and create different blocks of code. Let's move to 1B. So you see the diagram below is an illustration of an algorithm, and we have to use it to draw a flow chart. So when we say a flowchart is when you make a visual representation of your algorithm, where you use shapes to represent your algorithm. So mostly the shapes used are oval shape, and then parallelogram, diamond shape, rectangle, arrows, and so on and so forth. So input C, we have to input C. Now before you begin any flowchart, the first thing to indicate is start. It's just like you turning on a computer. Before you use it, you would have to turn it on, or before you operate it, you would have to turn it on. So the start allows you to begin. The start allows you to begin the program or the process. So the first thing will be start in an oval shape, then arrow, which is the connectors. The next one is a parallelogram, where it will take input C, that is an input. Then it comes to a decision. It says if C less than or equal to 100, then print C. So this box is called the diamond shape or the decision box. So it says is C less than equal to 100, there should be a question mark here. To a question mark. Then it says print C. So yes, if C, that is the number of, let's say, pages, if this was a printer, it's less than 100, then yes, you can print whatever it is, or you print C. But if it is the other way around, that is greater than or equal to 100, then no. Okay, so no. If no, then it means it's going to process a different formula, or going to give a process that it will use to print it. So this will be in a rectangular shape, then the arrow and then another parallelogram. So this parallelogram represents input, whilst this parallelogram represents output, and then you end the process. So this is the answer to 1B, the algorithm to the flowchart to the algorithm. Then C, we have to identify the diagrams below. They are found in Microsoft Publisher. So Publisher is a desktop publishing software. To I, shapes, but before that, the first one say we have to give the name of the ribbon tab where these tools can be found, and the answer is the insert tab. That is where you can find all these diagrams here, and we have to identify them. So I is shapes, then II is pictures, then the picture holder for the III, and then Ivan is online pictures. Then I say we have to state the use of each of them. So shapes is used to insert different kinds of shapes. Then insert the pictures is used to insert images from your local disk. Then the picture holder, what it does is that it reserves spaces for images. You know, if you want to insert an image in Publisher, you would have to get the holder that will keep will keep the picture in a place or in a section of the file where you want it to be, or the section of the document where you want it to be. And then Ivan is online pictures, where you can insert pictures from online sources or from the internet. Ivan, we have to name 4 basic objects that can be created in a publication using shapes. So you have basic shapes, block arrows, lines, and then flowchart symbols. Let's quickly move to 2A. It says we have to state the use of the following types of sensors in a robot. So the first one is a light sensor and a distance sensor. So the light sensor will detect the presence of light, while distance sensor will detect how far objects are from the robot. And 1B, we have to give 3 reasons why images must have a consistent look in a publication. And the answers are there. It makes it look neat, it maintains uniform style, it improves focus and engagement and all that. And then CI and II is talking about digital footprint. So when we talk about digital footprint, this simply means leaving trail or traces of data when using the internet. And there are 2 types. That is the active, where you intentionally share your details, and passive, where they are collected by third parties without your direct input or without you entering it directly. So if you ever use a web browser, you know we have a section called history. You don't have to input your history there. The browser itself will store or collect all the pages you visited, and that is what we call history. So history is an example of digital footprint, but a passive one. And DI, what is a screenshot? And this is an image that you capture of whatever you find on your screen. And how do you insert screenshot in a PowerPoint? That is II, and the steps are there. Let's quickly move to number 3. It says we have to give 3 tasks that you can accomplish with a smartwatch. You can use it for checking your date and time. You can use it for fitness tracking, for receiving notification, and in some instances to make and receive calls. B, we have to highlight 3 ways in which smartphones have transformed our daily communication. They are used for sending and receiving messages, for accessing multimedia content, for accessing real-time information. C, we have to give 2 examples of data fabrication, and II says how we can mitigate or reduce the effect of data fabrication. So examples of data fabrication is email spoofing. When we say email spoofing, this is when email messages are sent that are pertaining to be from trusted sources, where you are tricked to release harmful important information about you. So that is email spoofing. And in this case, people try to use email addresses of certain organizations. So let's say you say with GT Bank, so someone will create an email address where a message will be sent to you like it is from GT Bank, but it is tricking you, or it is a way of luring you to release your sensitive information. And also altering records. Data fabrication itself is about you making changes or alteration to data. So when change records, make changes to records is an example of data fabrication. And how do you mitigate or reduce the effect? You have to verify your data from trusted sources. You also have to implement data validation system and regularly audit and review your data. DI, what is cyberbullying, and ways cyberbullying can impact one's mental health. So cyberbullying is when we use the internet to threaten or harass people. And cyberbullying may lead to anxiety and emotional stress. It may also lead to social isolation and then low self-esteem. And finally, let's look at question number 4. So A says 3 negative effects of computer use on the environment. And the answers are there. It creates waste and it consumes high energy and all that. And B says we should outline 4 ways of reducing energy consumption when using computers. You would have to enable your power saving mode, turn off the devices when you are not using them, use energy efficient devices, adjust the screen brightness to reduce power usage. And C says we should distinguish between abstraction and decomposition in programming. These are programming terms where abstraction is hiding unnecessary details, where decomposition is breaking down a complex problem into absorbable forms or into simple forms. And D says we are to describe how to group shapes in PowerPoint. First, you would have to select the shapes. You select the shapes or you highlight them. And 2, you go to the shape format. So as soon as you insert a shape, automatically a format tab is generated, that is for shapes, and then you can choose group or click group from the drop down menu that comes. It is at the right side, your far right, where you see 2 groups being merged or being placed together, and then you can group your shapes. So this brings us to the end of the computing mock best brain exam 2026 review question and answer session. If this is your first time of watching, kindly like, share and subscribe. And if it was also helpful, don't forget to like, share and hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section and I'll attend to all those questions. Have a nice day and enjoy your day.